It's me, Zenobia Darling. You're listening to #RockstarLife, the Coffee Break podcast. Let's go. Where the hell's my cold brew at? All right, what's up, guys? It is me, Zenobia Darling. I have beamed down to have a coffee break with Katey Cooney, an amazing art film director, directing. Oh shit, we haven't talked about a title for it.
I assumed it would just be #RockstarLife.
I like that.
Yeah.
#RockstarLife, yes. Sorry, we're editing in progress, so this is what happens when you have a coffee break. So I'm sitting here with Katey Cooney, who directed #RockstarLife, the art film now on display, or what, premiering at Gallery 220 as part of my art exhibition. So what's up?
Hi.
How's your day today? What are you drinking?
Good. I'm drinking an iced matcha latte.
Oh, you're a matcha
always.
girl.
I'm such a matcha girl.
I love it. So.
I will only consume things that are green or like pink or orange.
Ooh.
Just as a rule in my life.
Well, matcha's, and you're nice and caffeinated. I've had my cold brew, my typical cold brew with Fireball in it.
With Fireball.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You get a little
if
mini
you were
Fireball.
going to add an alcohol to matcha, what would it be? I've thought about this and it's hard.
Probably like a strawberry guava rum.
Interesting. I was going to say some kind of rum.
Yeah.
Like
Malibu might be good. I don't know if the coconut would be good.
I don't know if you would want coconut, but like even like a lemon Bacardi, like something very
you need
toned down rum. Yeah.
And you need kind of like, because it's kind of sweet, right?
Yeah.
It's been a while since I normally get chai instead of matcha.
You're either a chai or a matcha.
I do like a dirty chai. But apparently I just found out that calling it a dirty chai is like offensive.
Says who?
I don't know. Someone said like, well, you're comparing it, you're adding coffee to it, so it's dirty, and it's like
so
Middle
it's
Eastern.
offensive to coffee? Oh.
And I'm like, I don't know, some random flower told me that. And I was like, really?
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, then how else are you supposed? It's boring to say chai with espresso.
Yeah, and then someone said it's a chai coffee, which is like Tchaikovsky, the director or the composer. And I'm like, no, it's a chai latte with a shot of espresso.
It's a dirty chai.
Yeah, dirty chai.
Yeah.
But interesting.
Yeah.
So what's up? How is your? Oh, we already went through that. So like, give us some backstory on Katey.
Okay.
Who is Katey? How did we meet? How did we get involved in this project?
We met. I actually reached out at the very beginning of the summer to Heidi, who is on the board for Gallery 220.
Yes.
And was like, because I babysat her kids. And
I love her kids.
They're awesome.
And I love Heidi. So
I reached out to her and I was like, I know you have connections to like different galleries in town, and I'm looking to do photography for something. And I was like, I kind of want to sell it. Like I kind of want to make money. But she was like, Gallery 220 is going to do a big installation and we don't know what it is yet. And I was like, okay, that's more than I can.
Okay, so Liz
handle.
Lawson's installation show, Open Issue Through Change, that just closed. But I was in it, so.
Yeah.
But I mean, you saw most of it. I mean, we filmed during it. So.
Yeah. Oh, it's very much, the cold open of the documentary, which I have decided it looks great.
I love it.
Is in that installation.
Oh, the back part of it, the black. I forget the artist's name. We'll put it post-edit, but...
Yeah. She asked me if I had any ideas for that. Like they're taking suggestions or pitches for the October one. This was like before you guys had like hammered out what this was going to be.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I don't have time to do that. Sorry. And then my mom joined the board at some point.
Yes. With backstory on your mom,
yeah,
she was one of my like history teachers when I went to Harvard Community.
I
like
didn't know
10
that.
years
She
ago.
was everyone's history teacher.
It was 20th Century World.
Yeah.
And like I'm very big about history, but like I have a learning disability, so you have to teach it in the right way for me to grasp it. And she taught it in like the right amount of like storytelling that like I remember being in Africa and I knew about like everything going on with the Rwandan genocide because of your mother. And people were like, how do you know this? And I'm like, I was like, history, like a history class in college. So when she was on the board, because I'm a member of the board too, I'm like, oh my God, I recognize you. And I was like, badass teacher. I love it.
Yeah. So I kind of Nepo babied my way in here, I guess, because I had given up the idea of being involved in the installation because I was like, I just don't have an idea. And then my mom, I was literally walking my dog and my mother comes running out of Gallery 220, and she's like, Katey, you have to go inside right now.
Oh my, that was our June board meeting.
Yeah.
I remember that.
She's like, Katey, you have to go inside right now. They're going to let you like direct a documentary for Derek's doing something about drag. And I was like, oh my God, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. So I came in and I stood there really awkwardly in the doorway.
Hey, I got your information. That's all. Because that was my first board meeting, and like,
oh really?
I was a little like, yeah, because I just joined it, because that's where they asked me to actually curate the show. So I was like, I was kind of taking in that I was actually curating an art show, The Art of Drag, now at Gallery 220. So go see it, go check it out.
Yeah, I'm excited. I have definitely, first of all, little backgrounds. I, for my birthday this year, was like, I need to do drag brunch. I've never been to a drag show. And I have friends who love drag. And they were all like, oh my God, we're getting you to a drag show. And then it didn't happen because my birthday is smack dab in the middle of finals, which sucks.
Yeah.
But
Are
I
you a
didn't
May
go.
baby?
I am a May.
Me too.
I'm a
Gemini.
Taurus.
Oh, you're a Taurus.
Yeah, I am a Taurus.
I'm May 30th, so I'm a
You
Gemini.
are a Gemini.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
But I was super bummed that I did not get to the drag show because, like, you know, I wanted to go. I thought it'd be something that was fun. And then I got this opportunity and I was like...
And you got to go backstage and actually like meet the drag queens.
Awesome. I came home so mad though because I had to go to work right after. And I was like, bye. You'll see it. It's in the documentary where they're like doing shots before the show. And they're like, Katey, do you want a shot? And I have to be like, no, I can't. I have work. And I came home and I was like so upset because I was like, I feel like that's so part of it.
Do you know how many times though I've been serving and like I've just been like, I show up to like when I bartended, like this is really bad to say. I'm like, I'll take a shot. Or half the time I would just drink on the bar.
No, I'm sure.
But I also was a bad kid and this was like 10 years ago. So
yeah, mine, it was more for me that the timing was such that if I were going to do a shot or two, I was just going to be tired by the time I got to work.
I totally get that.
But I was super bummed because first of all, it messed with the flow of the documentary. Like it's so much cooler if the person holding the camera is like taking the shot glass. I'm like, but also,
I mean, you're in the documentary though.
I mean, I talk to you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have a problem with that. The further into editing I get, the more I'm gonna be like, oh my God, I'm giggling here.
I love it though, because like you were such an active member of like the show that day.
Yeah.
That like I remember that was the July show at the State Theater, and like I remember we got to hear the gallery at like 10 in the morning on like a Sunday, and like of course I was drinking because like I'm like I always say 2 glasses of wine. Like I don't get drunk or sloppy anymore, but I always have 2. I always say it's my offering to Dionysus, the Greek god of theater. So I'm like,
of course,
good show. So
and
I was
wine.
Like, yes,
the Greek god of theater and wine.
Yes,
of course they're the same god.
Oh yeah.
So
of course they were. Like Dionysus is like he's my.
That's your favorite Greek god or goddess?
He's my favorite probably deity of all time.
Okay, I'm a Persephone girl.
Ooh.
Myself. Yeah.
I do like
Well, because I read a lot of tarot. So
me too.
Yeah.
I actually got my Disney villain tarot card deck.
Oh, that's fine.
So you're gonna have to give me a reading after this.
Oh my God, I totally will.
I want to get because I love tarot cards and like down at Haven, down in Havre de Grace. Have you been there?
No.
My friend Linnea owns it. It's like she's basically. I mean, I'm a witch. Like she's a witch, and like we do all that stuff and like ghost hunting and stuff. But she's a huge tarot card stuff, and I'm like, you would fit in right along with all of us spooky bitches.
I have a lot of friends who read tarot, and it's interesting because we all have our own decks, and some of my friends are very naturally gifted. Like, you know, like I'll read tarot for someone I've never read ever in my life, and I'll be like, is your favorite color green? And they're like, oh my God, yes.
Oh my God, I love it.
But then I have friends who read and they're pulling cards, but it's not as much of like a deep connection, I feel like, that they're having with their cards. But my deck was my mom's.
See, that the way tarot works is you're always gifted the deck that is the strongest to you. The Disney villain deck was a gift from my mom, and that's the one. Like I've bought myself other decks, and I don't.
They're too clean.
Yeah,
like when you shuffle them, they have this very white, pure energy, which is awesome. But I feel like my cards they were my mother's, and so first of all, they're used and they're worn in,
and they have her energy on.
But they also have her energy in them, and like my friends who will read with my cards, and they're like, these are so strong. Like, I
love it. Do you have it with you?
I don't.
Damn. Next
but
time
I live 5 minutes from here. So.
Next time I see you, I want to get a reading from that. But my deck, and I love it because Disney villains have always like the ones I've identified with. So there's like Ursula, all the major queens that I love. Like, and drag and tarot, there's a huge connection. Like, I just met in some show in June I did. There was it's like a queer art show. There was actually like several gays in there like doing tarot decks reading, because I think it's so many drag queens and just so many gays in general, like that's their like higher power and their spirituality, and it's like and plus tarot cards like fucking badass.
They're so cool. What is your card?
What card?
Like, I don't know. Like, what's your card? Like, that you feel like you always pull? Or
I always pull probably 5 of Cups.
Oh my God, I'm an Ace of Cups.
Yeah, I get that a lot, and I get the Hermit a lot.
Okay.
Because I'm actually very introverted, even though I am an actor, like an extrovert. I am very introverted. So I can pull that card a lot when it's time to like kind of be more introverted, and kind of like when I get really exhausted with being such an extrovert, because it is exhausting.
That's
like,
fair.
You know, I like to go away and just like have like 3 days in a hotel room by myself, not like interacting with anyone.
I pull the Ace of Cups all the time because I'm always looking for love and joy.
I love it.
But also I pull the Hanged Man a lot because I'm always trying to make too many things work at once.
I get that.
And trying to do things for other people.
And I get Justice a lot.
Yeah.
Like I get Justice a lot, and that's when I'm always. And the Justice card is for the Disney villain is like the magic mirror.
Oh, that's awesome.
So there's something about that, because like I know we're at my studio, Gallery 220 now, and I actually have my mirror there, and I'm kind of like, ooh. And I just did a reading like this weekend, and I kept looking at that, and that card came up, and I'm like, there is something to this, like, because I do look in a mirror a lot.
Oh my God. My restaurant, there's mirrors all along the side. Like when I walk out to run food, I'm just looking in the mirror the entire time.
And like, of course, I can't help. And like, how do I look? Like, you know, is all the kibbles and bits in place?
All the time. Yeah.
So let's get back to that July.
Yeah, sorry.
Drag show. No, you're good. I love it because I'm a sidetrack bitch. I'm like, I always say we're gonna get there, but we're taking a detour. So.
Yeah.
But let's get back to the State Theater that July Sunday. So we were at the July drag brunch at the State Theater, hosted by Sorority Heights, who is a legendary Baltimore queen. And a lot of those queens, I started performing around them, and like they're the ones that I would always go to. I went to Towson like 8 years ago. So like Washington Heights is in there. I've been in Washington for like 8 years. That bitch is fucking amazing. Who else? Like just all of them. Bambi was there being messy. I love Bambi. She's such good energy. Who else? Dee Dee Darion was there too.
Dee Dee Darion was there.
Yes.
Amethyst
Diamond, Miss Gay Maryland, I forget, she's pageant girl.
Yes.
So you had a really good group. Like that I was like, it didn't hit me until like I saw like the edit, and I was like, oh my God, like we really got like some good Baltimore drag queens. Like we got the cream of the crop. And that's why I love that show, because it's like in fucking Havre de Grace, we get like top-notch drag queens.
It was awesome. I am currently struggling in putting together the documentary of like how much of their performances can I afford to show, because they each did 2 numbers. And then also there's all the stuff of them interacting on stage. Like I have so much footage of Bambi in Washington, like sitting up on the speaker or whatever.
That's
wherever
the
they're
best.
sitting.
They always do that.
And and like so much footage of that. And I am tempted to use that, not necessarily instead of the performance footage, but like I think it's so, for someone who had never been to a drag show, the performances are exactly what you expect them to be.
To a
certain extent.
Because I mean, they do like the stereotypical like drag shows that's like the legendary, like the lip syncs stuff that I don't do that anymore, just because I have a knee injury and I can't do it. But I used to do that stuff. I mean, my Kennedy Center title is from doing Gaga impersonation. Yeah. And it's kind of like I've been evolving it, but there's something about that like old school drag that I'm like, it makes you feel good. It's happy.
It's glamorous.
Yes.
It's awesome. But I am very, just for the purposes of this documentary, and like I feel like the thing we're getting across here is like I really want to use footage of just them hanging out on stage and because like just them interacting.
Because that's how they legitimately are. Like, ooh, details.
Cut that.
I will edit or cut. Hey guys, it's post-edit Zenobia Darling coming at you. So right at this point, it was during like a time when like 5 planets were in retrograde. And during this moment, I accidentally hit the charger to my soundboard to record the podcast, unplugged it right as we were talking about some behind the scenes tea that I actually was going to edit out. And I'm sitting there editing it and I'm like, we need to add a transition. So this is a continuation where we talk about the retrogrades and talk about astrology. So sorry about that. Retrogrades suck. And we talk about that. So enjoy. Okay, so Venus retrograde, so Mercury retrograde just retrograded.
Yeah, I won't feel it for a couple days, but it's super annoying that it's right when I'm trying to like move back into school.
I know.
And like I need to be so together and like organized.
Of course the universe is gonna be like, oh, let's throw a fucking curveball at you. Let's just, here's some fun.
No.
See, I feel retrogrades about a week before they start. Like normally,
Interesting.
Like, and I remember I used to date an astrologer and he said that I have the type of chart where anything that's like earth sign, surprisingly, even though I'm a Gemini, I feel, but I also feel things about 2 weeks before they happen.
What
Which like
are your moon and rising?
Oh God. I know it's air, earth, earth.
Okay.
Which is a weird combination.
Yeah, you have a Taurus in there somewhere.
Yeah.
As a Taurus, I know there's some.
I know Cancer is my
placement.
Venus is in Cancer. My moon is I think Capricorn.
That sucks. That your Venus is in Cancer. I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
Mine is in Aries and it also sucks.
Yeah. Because it's like, but I've noticed, but I remember he told me that I was going to fall in love with a Cancer.
Interesting.
Which I'm like, and like a lot of my grandmother was a Cancer. A lot of women in my family are Cancers. So there's something very like motherly about it to me. But at the same time, I'm like, and he would always say I was evolved Gemini. He was like, you have a lot of the toxic traits like worked out.
That's good.
Which I'm like, I hope.
I love Geminis.
Yeah.
I'm convinced I'm going to marry a Virgo. 100%.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can totally see that.
I am. Yeah. My chart, my big 3, I'm like, there's a fly on my forehead.
Ooh,
I'm
there's
like,
flies back. It's ridiculous. It's, yeah.
like the most stubborn person that you will ever meet in the world. I have a Taurus sun, a Virgo moon, and a Leo rising.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I'm just.
I'm
also planted in what I believe, and I will never change.
That's actually good. People need to do that because I'm used to a lot of like air signs. Like one of my good friends is air, fire, and it like feeds it all together. And I'm like, let's tone it down. Like let's come back to earth.
Well, my friend group is 4 people, and the other 3 of them have Libra moons, and none of them can make a decision to save their fucking life. Like if we're doing anything, it'll even be like what we're having for dinner. Everyone will throw ideas out, but like I'm pulling the trigger 100% of the time. Like that, it has to be me because they all have Libra moons and they're all just like, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, wait, we might do this.
We'll all sit in my room and they'll be like, oh, we should go in the living room now. And I'm like, okay. And they'll be like, can we go? We should go in the living room. And I'm like, get up and go to the living room. I will follow you to the living room.
You're like, make the fucking decision.
Go to the living room and then I will follow.
Oh God. I just also can't stand people that like are like, well, I don't want to eat. Like for instance, I like to eat Asian food all the time. I'm always down for it. Like sushi, pho, anything like that. I'm like Thai food. And you're like, well, I had that like a week ago. I don't know. I'm like, just say yes.
I had a quesadilla for lunch. I'm going to have tacos for dinner.
Hey, I'm down. Did your mom cook?
She's cooking dinner.
Ooh.
The restaurant gave me a quesadilla for free today.
What did I have today? I had Mandarin orange chicken. I went to Trader Joe's the other day.
Yum.
My fave.
Yum.
So
I live off of Panda Express orange chicken when I'm at school.
Yes. Well, I remember when I went to Towson, there was one there that I would go to all the time. The orange chicken and the mushroom chicken over noodles is my fave.
I'm a rice girl.
Yeah. See, I'm not a rice person.
Really?
I'm rice it's not my fave.
I could eat rice for every meal, probably.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I eat especially if I'm putting different things on it each time, forget about it.
Yeah.
I can live off of rice.
I'm definitely I don't know. I like stuff spicy too. Mm-hmm. That's why I like Korean food, Thai food. And when I order it, I'm saying make it out of 1 to 10, how hot do you want? I'm like a 10, and they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, make it authentically hot.
Yeah,
crank that shit up there.
Yeah, not me. I'm I've been having so much heartburn lately.
Really?
And I'm like, I'm just a little girl.
What
Why
do
am
you
I
eat?
getting...
Is there anything in particular that like?
I don't know. Like, I didn't used to get it. And now it's like, I'm just lying in my bed and I'm like, I'm having a heart attack. This is a heart attack.
Oh my God. But no, it's heartburn.
But it's, yeah.
Oh my God.
Or like, it's, yeah.
Do you get
fine.
do you get heartburn like when you go out drinking?
No. It's
Really? Because sugary things, like if I have like a margarita and it's made with like pre-made sour mix, I'm heartburn all the way.
I can't drink sour mix.
Okay.
If one time I went drinking in Baltimore, the only time I like went out in Baltimore, I was like, I was with my friend. I was like, what do you usually get here? And she was like, I just get a vodka sour. And I was like, I've never had a vodka sour. But it was easier. I was like, okay, we'll get 2 vodka sours.
Basically, what is that, a dirty lemonade?
I mean, that's what I thought, that the sour in a vodka sour was lemon. It's sour. Like, that is what the sour flavor is. It's just like sour mix.
Oh, see,
It's just sour. And I was supposed to go back to Boston the next day, and I threw up all day. Like, had to move my flight, almost went to the hospital. Like, and I didn't drink more than I usually drink. It was just the sour mix in my body. I couldn't be conscious long enough to email my professors to tell them I was going to be a day late.
Oh my
God.
It
killed me.
Been there, done that.
Yeah,
I had a trip to New Orleans where
that'll get you.
Oh my God. Well, I was there with my
100%
sister, like, and she works for the government, and she was there doing with all her like government people, like, because she travels all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always go with her. All I do is pay for airfare. I would just stay with her at the hotel.
Yeah.
And they all went out. And of course, I'm getting a hurricane. Like, I'm like, oh, we're in New Orleans. Oh, hurricane. Literally flying home the next day, I threw up on the plane like 4 times because the pilot kept going up and down into it when you go over a hill.
Yeah.
I was so hungover. That was the only time I used a barf bag in a plane. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. That was the last time. Anymore, like, I drink. It's the sugar that does it for me.
Yeah. Is there anything you just can't drink ever again?
Jägermeister.
No one should be drinking Jäger.
Rumpelmints.
I have not encountered that yet in my life.
Schnapps.
At my young age of 20.
It's very much like 10 years ago it was big. It's good in hot chocolate, I will say. Because that's the other thing. I like coffee, alcoholic drinks, like an Irish coffee.
Sorry to interrupt, but freshman year of college, I go to school in Boston, so my freshman year had huge blizzard season. Like, classes are canceled. Obviously, everyone says we're gonna party. We're gonna snarty. Like,
oh my God.
In the middle of the day, videos of my friends passed out in snowbanks, the whole 9 yards. Everyone's cooling their beers in the snowbank, like snow everywhere, whatever. So we go to this one frat that our friend is in, and he's like, oh my God, guys, come in. I'll get you some hot chocolate. And we're like, okay, they have alcoholic hot chocolate. Like, that's fun. They probably put, Bailey's or, maybe some Kahlua.
Yeah.
And he brings us each a hot chocolate, and it is literally, they made hot chocolate 2 hours ago and poured vodka into it.
Oh, see,
that is it. And we're just drinking lukewarm hot chocolate with vodka, and it's hot chocolate and vodka, so like they're separating.
Yeah.
Right? Like the vodka's kind of settling on the top, and it was the grossest thing that I've ever had in my entire life. Why would you? I know you're a frat. I get it, but like they have liqueurs that are made for
especially
things
the
like
hot
that.
chocolate. I mean, put Kahlua in there. Put
Anything.
Godiva makes
Godiva.
dark and like white chocolate liquor. Put Rumpelmint, which is peppermint. Goldschlager, which is like a cinnamony
There's
one.
so many things.
There's so many. Like, I love, this was my trip when I went to Towson. So I was in like the theater studies. So like I was like half acting, half like production. And a lot of like the actors, I call the actors who are like the most annoyingest theater kids I've ever met in my life. Like, some of them listen, sorry, there's the truth. So like, and also like I was like a few years older because I went to college a little bit later. So like I couldn't handle it. So a lot of times I always keep mini of Fireballs in my like makeup bag. Just, you never know. You never know when you need a coffee break.
You need Fireball a lot of the time.
Yes. And so I would like go to Starbucks, walk across campus, get a Venti cold brew. No matter, it was like 10 degrees out. I don't care. I'm drinking cold brew. with cinnamon dolce, splash of coconut milk, and add that mini in it, and then just drink it. I'm like, what are you drinking?
Genius.
It's none of your fucking business. It's coffee.
Genius.
But it was just enough to get me like take the edge off, but I still could like function. Plus, I was doing a bunch of like improv and like comedy stuff. Doing
it's so helpful.
So I was like, they kept wondering like, how are you so good? I'm like, because I'm a little lit. Like, what else?
No, I'm not great at improv, but if I have like a drop of alcohol in my system and I'm the funniest person, I firmly believe, and this is probably what everyone who's drunk thinks, is that they're the funniest person ever born. I'm the funniest
filter
person
goes away.
Ever born.
Yeah.
Well, my filter is thin to begin with.
That's how mine is.
Yeah.
People like, you get looser, and I'm like, yes. And then I get
and
like,
I shouldn't.
Yes. And then I'm like, and then then I start going, because like, I'm just being a drag queen, I'm shady, and
of course.
I'm also trained insult comic. Like Kathy Griffin, Joan Rivers, Don Rickles, all like the hardcore insult comics are who I idolize and inspired me most to do comedy. That starts coming out hardcore, and then it's I'll start going in, and I'm like, whoopsie, oopsie, this is why I don't drink.
Segueing into Paris is Burning.
Yes, talk about Paris is Burning.
So I watched it because Derek told me I had to watch it.
What are your thoughts? Well, you're deep in editing land, so it's like...
Well, yeah, it was helpful. In a way, I found it a little stressful. You know, if you watch something that's inspiring the work that you're doing while you're trying to put it together, you're like, well, it's not going to be this because we didn't film it over 7 years. Mm-hmm. And no one in the movie dies. So it doesn't have the emotional impact.
Yeah, because you got Venus Extravaganza, that poor woman. I love her.
She was amazing.
I know. All of them. I mean, think about it. All Dorian Corey's dead.
I was going to ask how many of them are dead.
Benji Ninja, I believe, is still alive. Most of them are died. Most of them died of HIV. I mean, that's the reality of gay people in the 80s. God, yeah.
Yeah.
And Dorian Corey, like, so she had a trick come over and something happened, and apparently allegedly she murdered him and then kept his body in a trunk in the like drag closet. That's like the rumor.
Forgive women.
Yes. I'm like, I'm like, that's a fucking drag queen right there. Like those
drag.
Those queens are legend. Venus Extravaganza, like, oh.
Yeah. Is she legendary because of Paris is Burning and because she dies in it? Or
yeah. Well, I mean, she was brutally murdered. I mean, that's a story about like trans people and trans sex workers in particular. Like, and then the FX one, Pose, is like directly inspired by Paris is Burning.
Pose is
Ryan Murphy.
I was going to say that's Ryan Murphy.
Yeah. It's basically the dramatized version of that. And there's one character, I forget who it is, but one of them gets murdered escorting, which is a very common reality, which is something that I don't think people realize about drag. And also, like, there's a difference between drag and trans, but like in the early days, a lot of them were trans women because that's where they could go and they could be themselves at the drag ball.
Yeah, I was very fascinated by Paris is Burning came out in 1990.
Yes.
The lack of distinction really that they draw between drag queens and trans women.
And that's something that I kind of struggle with now is like people are very hyper focused on like, what is your label? Like gay, straight, are you trans? And it's kind of like back then, and you watch a lot of media from even like the Andy Warhol documentaries, there's no distinction. They're kind of like, they are who they are. They're
because who gives a shit?
Exactly. I'm like, why are we putting labels on stuff? Like, I'm just, No,
I thought that was interesting because, I don't know, I feel like today we are so obsessed with
you're trans
things.
And I'm like,
right.
Like people think I'm trans. I'm like, no, like I'm a Gemini. I like to play dress up. I'm like Zenobia. Like, yes, she comes out all the time, but there is Derek and there's Zenobia, and I'm also an actor.
Well,
and
right, I was saying you're a performer.
Yeah,
is what you are, and I think, but it's your reality. And in Paris is Burning, they did a really good job at showing so they don't draw a distinction between the two, but then they also show back to back someone, I forget who it was, one of them talking about how they would never get sex change surgery because they don't need it because they're a drag queen.
Yeah.
And then someone else saying this is all I want because but we're not saying this person is a drag queen and this person is trans. We're saying this is a documentary about drag.
Yeah, it's about the drag balls and and queer people, specifically Black and Hispanic in Harlem and in New York City during the late 80s. So, you know, you see all the social issues, and then also breaks into some of the, like, the issues around gay people that aren't talked about as much, like a lot of the escorting, how these straight men, quote unquote, are having sex with sex workers that are trans because they have this weird fantasy for like a chick with a dick because they have a lot of internalized homophobia. Like, I've experienced that. Most drag queens have experienced that, and it's
sure.
and up here in Harford County, trust me, it happens a lot.
Really?
Oh yeah.
And it's men who claim that they're straight?
Yeah.
For the most part.
But like they have some type of like homoerotic desire within them. It seems like a lot of straight guys, the worst thing that could happen imaginable is if they're labeled as gay or perceived as gay, but they still have that desire and a lot of shame about it. So that's also a lot of why a lot of trans people are murdered, because these men have sex with them or pay them to have sex and they can't handle this shame afterwards. So they just kill them. And it's like,
easier for them to carry the fact that they murdered someone than it is for them to carry the fact that they had sex with a trans person.
Which is bullshit. And I'm like, it's crazy.
Still true. Yeah. I'm sure.
Because a lot of the stuff in there in Paris is Burning is still happening today.
Yeah.
It's kind of evolved, and it's even now it's even more heightened. And a lot of times they were talking about a lot of like politics in there. I don't think people realize is like you're hearing about like the late 80s and like the Reagan era and all that stuff and like the war on drugs.
Fuck Ronald Reagan.
Oh, don't get me started with his throat goat wife. But you still see a lot of those issues playing out today. And it's kind of like, have we learned anything in the past 40 years? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
And there's another one. I was actually a lead in this. I was Prior Walter, but there's a play called Angels in America.
I was in the Laramie Project, which is so Angels in America. Yes. They actually reference Angels in America in the Laramie Project.
Because that was Travis Shepard, I believe his name
Matthew
was.
Shepard.
Matthew Shepard, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, but I mean, even with that happened in the late 90s.
Yeah.
And like, you know, and then you get like, what's that country singer that's like, try that in a small town? It's like, there was a gay kid in a small town and look what happened to him. So it's like, you know, it's like, let's really think about this shit.
Yeah.
And I mean, think about it in this year, like in October of 2022, I was at a drag show in Harford County, my first drag show, and I had someone come up and threaten my life.
That's
like she.
Why
was
are you at a drag show?
Well, it was such a long story, and like, I don't know. She's such a cunt, like, but she like came up and was like pissed at me, and I triggered her because I think she had some type of like lesbian desire within her that she's never acted on, and just seeing me in drag and being that free and happy and having fun triggered her so much that she actually came up to me and said she wanted to strangle me.
Why?
Yeah, just because people are weird.
And it's so interesting though, because people say then that like drag queens and trans people are mentally ill, but you know, I feel like to go up to a person and threaten to strangle them, that to me is like, much more indicative of mental illness.
Yes. And I feel like a lot of drag queens, yes, they struggle with mental illness, but like drag is how they're surviving it and how they're getting through it. And most of the time they've been in a healing process and they're very open about it. Yeah. Whereas like they're very emotionally intelligent. They're very sensitive to those things. Whereas like that fucking bitch is not emotionally intelligent. I mean,
she doesn't know shit.
Yeah, so I'm like, you know, have fun jerking off to porn because you're too chicken shit to actually have sex with a woman. So
yeah.
And my beautiful blonde locks triggered you. Oh, well.
Yeah.
But karma's a bitch, so I don't have to be. That's what I always say.
I need to live by that more because you're right. It is.
Yeah, karma's a bitch. I'm telling you, it's like I could be a real bitter Betty, like a real just nasty bitch. And it's like with all the shit I've been through, you know, in the moment I can feel it. But then I look back a few years later and I'm like, wow, I'm like, the universe has my back. Karma has my back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the best way to get back is someone who wronged you is to just be happier than them.
Oh, yeah. And I'm just kind of like, you know, oh, well, look how better I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So getting back to the State Theater. So what was your favorite part of being there that day?
That's so hard. I think the energy in there is so, and I haven't been to a drag show since
that was
or
your
before.
First drag. Oh.
Yes. So that's why Havre de Grace is the weirdest place that I've ever been.
Oh, I know.
Or lived in my entire life. So I think just the energy in the room was so awesome. And I'm sure any drag show you go to is going to have those supportive vibes and whatever. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, well, I'm in Havre de Grace, which is a clusterfuck of types of people and experiences, and also everyone knows each other.
Oh yeah.
So like,
oh yeah.
it was so, I don't know, like it was just so warm, and I felt so immediately like I was a part of it, which was awesome.
Oh yeah. Who was your favorite? Who's the standout queen that like really like?
Don't make me say
There was
that.
a lot. I'm telling you, because that's a
say.
hard group. That's a hard group to choose because all of them are amazing.
I thought Bambi was awesome.
Bambi. Oh yes.
And then
Bambi, we got her talking on mic too, because.
I don't know how much of that I can use.
But I
we'll
mean,
see
we
by
could
the
still
time
talk.
this airs,
Yeah.
we'll know how much of it I used. But I have her talking.
I love it. I love
Talking.
it. She's one of the nicest queens, and that's the thing also about the drag queens is like they respect a camera. They always know where it's at. That's something that I try to tell people, like part of media training is, and just being a like socialite and a drag person, is you're constantly aware of where the camera's at, and all of them are, and all of them are not afraid to get messy on camera.
Because I have footage of Amethyst like leaning into the camera though, and like talking to me and saying something about like people think drag queens are evil, and we are, and like so comfortable.
Oh, no, that sounds like Washington.
Oh my god.
What were they wearing?
Well, it was after
Because I know
the show. So
okay, because I know Amethyst in the beginning like leaned into the camera and was like, "How much of this you using?" Like,
they both leaned into the camera at one point.
well, Washington also came right on and was like, "I gotta take a shit," like right as we walked in on camera.
Yeah, they both were talking right at the camera in a way that was so. Because do you know God, what's it called? It's the Bob Dylan documentary. Is it called Don't Look Back? Am I making that up?
Oh God.
It's,
Is that the one where he talks about like mood lighting and like looking right into the camera?
It's the one. It's one of the best fly on the wall documentaries.
Because that's my favorite. Like I love in reality TV where like when they break the fourth
It's Don't
wall.
Look Back.
Okay. I haven't seen that in a while.
It's Pennebaker, but it is fantastic fly on the wall. I was thinking that the whole time I'm in the dressing room,
Yeah.
like I'm trying to channel my Pennebaker, Bob Dylan.
Because I mean, you got some good, and there was also some drama happening. So there was this dude in town. He's on Grindr. He's hit me up a few times. He decides to be a go-go boy. We're not going to air that. We're not going to air who it is, but I mean, you hear us talking about it. That was pretty funny.
That is funny. And it was so, you just keep looking at the camera and being like, this is drag.
Yeah. Oh, I did. Because I was probably drunk at that
I
point.
was going to say you were drunk, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Washington
Yeah.
would get me drunk. It happens.
Yeah. Well, and I have you saying on camera, I'm drunk.
Oh, really? And I probably look at the camera like, I'm a superstar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's okay. I feel like next time I'm drunk, I feel like I will channel more of that though, where I'm like, I am famous. Because
I mean,
it's
you just
true.
make it. You just, that people think like fame is something you aspire to be. And it's like, no, you're born famous. Like,
Yeah.
I was famous when I was 10 years old. At Havre de Grace High School in 2005, I was fucking famous.
I mean, there's a very famous story of me as a little kid, like probably 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there. And I don't even know what the context was, but we were just talking about like with my parents, like people that we know, whatever. And I said, I mean, I'm already pretty famous. And they quote it to me to this day because I'm like,
my
yeah,
God.
I was already pretty famous.
Well,
I'm still pretty famous.
So when I was in middle school, Paris Hilton was big.
Awesome.
And I just wanted to be her. I was like, I want to be.
I have to show you my Halloween costume.
Oh, you could be Paris Hilton?
Well, it's from last year.
Oh, my God. Well, I remember I got kicked out of science class because I told the teacher, she said something, and I was like, that's hot. And she was like, get out. And I was like, what? And no, she was lighting a Bunsen burner, and it lit up, and I was like, oh, that's hot.
Well, that's just literal.
Paris
She
Hilton
can
is
be
my idol. I fucking love her.
She's the best.
But like, that's also something like Gaga talks about that, and like the whole Fame album, her first album, like you were born famous, and the world just follows it. And that's what drag is drag is creating your celebrity and your fame.
Okay, this picture's so bad, and I feel bad for people listening because they won't be able to see it.
Well, it might be up on the Patreon.
Okay, this picture's so bad, but it's me in my best friend doing Paris and Nicole.
Oh my God.
And I have literally the Simple Life picture right next to it because it's literally the same.
It's so good.
Thing.
Well, you know, like, so when they filmed season 3 of The Simple Life, this is so good because, like, I'm a pop culture junkie, and like The Simple Life was amazing. They were actually in Bel Air.
Were they really?
Yes. If you go back and watch, because they
awesome.
were at like Fox 45 doing the weather,
Yeah.
and Parsons like butchering it. But
That's
my friend
awesome.
Dylan, like, he knows the girl that they stayed with, and they said they were like so cool, so chill, like generally good people, and they're still in touch with most of the people that they
Really?
stayed with. So like that's the
I'm
thing.
not
Paris,
surprised by that.
yeah, like Paris is like one of, like, I've met her before. She is like generally nice. She drinks Malibu and pineapple. That's her drink. But she's generally like interested in you. She loves it. She's just
I love her.
And like
Can
meeting her, I
we-
was like,
Oh, I'm sure.
that was the one.
Like,
Because I've met a few celebrities, and there's a few that I like get butterflies with. Paris is one of them. But then once, like, and she's used to that, and she kind of is good at like calming you down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's been a few where I'm like, am I meeting this person? Ugh.
yeah. No,
But no,
that
Paris
doesn't
is the
surprise me.
best.
She seems cool.
But like that's one of the
Let's
biggest
talk about
inspirations.
Britney Spears.
Oh God, don't get me started. Don't get me started because she just got divorced. What the fuck's
Her getting
happening?
divorced has my whole theory that I had developed very strongly.
Throw it to me.
Okay.
I've been
Well,
following Britney forever.
Have you seen like all of the TikTok of like her being AI? And,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
okay,
100%,
yeah,
yeah.
of course. So, and her husband owns the green screen company, right? Like,
Of
he
course.
literally.
There's something shady about him. I'll tell you that much.
And
He's
well, so during
shady
her
as fuck.
conservatorship, she's not allowed to have friends. She's not allowed to see anybody, but she's allowed to be engaged.
Who's like
That doesn't
hot
make
as fuck,
any
shady
sense.
as hell. Yeah.
So my theory, because if you see like interviews of like Selena Gomez, who
Ugh, another one. Ugh.
Selena Gomez is the love of my life. We're not allowed to say
Really?
anything about Selena Gomez.
Okay. I mean, I will say I think she's very manufactured musically, but I do appreciate
Her first 3 albums, her first 3 or 4 albums are everything.
Yeah. Well, that I Love You Like a Love Song. They used to play that song when I worked at Abercrombie, and that was
I'm
like,
sure.
but it was like a techno gay dance version.
Yeah.
That's I get down with that.
She's-
There was a Disney song she did. Which
Tell me something I don't know, but there's a lot of Disney songs she did. Every song.
yeah.
I listened
Demi
to a lot
Lovato
of.
though, that bitch can go fuck herself.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you an off mic story about her.
Okay, I'm sure that she sucks.
Oh yeah.
But there's like footage of Selena Gomez that she gets interviewed about Britney's wedding, and
Paris was there. Madonna
the
was there.
way that Selena's face falls when they ask her, and she's like, I think it's just everyone who loved her was there, and that's what's important. But like that wedding was not real.
No, it wasn't.
The pictures of her, like the height doesn't make any sense. Like she would have to be wearing 10-inch heels for the heights to make sense. I don't know. So anyway, my theory was always that she's not dead, but she's like in a mental hospital staring at the wall somewhere.
Oh, 100%.
And
100%.
her family is like, okay, she'll get better eventually, so we're going to keep her alive. But now she's getting a divorce, and that has me really confused.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, he was very much a part of that, where like it makes sense to me that she would have lost her mind because anybody would have.
And there's that picture that I just saw recently where like she's walking out, like she's in some see-through like top, tits out.
Yeah.
Which I mean, good for her. Have your tits out, but still, I'm like,
No, I just, it feels to me like obviously they're trying to cover something up, and I'm not going to be that conspiracy theorist who's like, she's dead and they're profiting off it. But like,
they definitely, I mean, she's our generation's Judy Garland, like for
Oh.
sure. And it's the
Yes.
studio thing, but her family's involved with it. It's so fucked. I've been saying free Britney since like 2016, 17.
literally, but I just think that she's lost her mind, and they're trying to keep her internet presence alive in hopes that she'll come back and be fine. But I don't understand the divorce.
I don't either.
Because I thought, like, what would have changed? So maybe she's better. Not better, but like maybe she's
And I mean,
getting enough that she
I
can,
do
like,
believe that she does have a serious mental illness. And I think that
Definitely.
fame has exacerbated it. And because there has been moments.
That she did. Did she? Do you think when she was young?
I think the seeds might have been planted. Because I think what it is I always say you kind of like genetics like loads the trigger, but your environment pulls the, or no,
loads the gun.
Yeah, loads the gun, and then your environment pulls the trigger.
Yes.
So I think her being famous definitely like scrambled stuff, because I mean she's been through some shit in her life.
Yeah.
You know? And then she always had like I remember the Every Time video, and like that was so cutting edge, and she was talking about like suicidal ideation, and that was back then. And I remember being like, something's not right. And then she had Lucky like on her first or second album. I remember listening to Lucky, and I'm like, there's something going on here that I don't think people are talking about.
Do you know the theory that she was employed by the Bush administration?
Oh, 100%.
Do you think that's true?
I definitely can see it happening. I mean, thinking back about like, because I feel like right now we're in a period where a lot of like all who shall be revealed is being revealed, definitely about like our government and stuff, and kind of the government involvement in media and pop culture. And I definitely think that celebrities have been involved with that shit. I mean, I think the Dixie Chicks were too.
That's the closest you will get to convincing me of an Illuminati.
Yeah. Is
that like the government uses celebrities to distract from the fact that the government sucks.
Yeah.
Because makes sense.
Oh yeah. Well, I get a lot of hate because like because I study reality television, and one of the things is like our political theater now, because Donald Trump is a reality star, with the advent of him in the political realm, reality TV theatrics are involved now in media and like with our government, and like that's what they're doing. Like Fox News and CNN are just reality shows for whatever political party pays for their ad spot and pays for their stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like people don't realize that. And then you get someone like Donald Trump, who is a fucking reality star, like, and you're kind of like, wait a minute, like it's a 24-hour reality show, and that's why he won, because he's a hit. He's
so entertaining.
Yes, like, and he's funny. And there's some moments where I'm like,
sometimes he says stuff, and I'm like, you're funny,
dude. I'm like,
you know how to work an audience.
Yes,
like he is funny.
Do you know how many people have so much? Like that woman that threatened me, she loved to come at me. Like when I confronted her, and I confronted her with the organization that I was with about it, she basically came back hard at me saying, you say reality TV, and I'm gonna be like, oh, fuck yourself. Like, do you know what that means? Like, do you realize what I'm like I'm on this forefront of like the new age of media, and it's like I understand everything that's going involved, and it's like now it's playing at the big times. So
no, I was just having this conversation about Donald Trump where like, because my grandparents asked me like, is your generation gonna vote? And I was like, that's a loaded question. Who knows? But I said my favorite thing about Joe Biden is that I don't hear his name every day. A lot of the time, I forget we have a president. And that's awesome.
He's like, he's hunkering down the White House.
First of all, the president's job is not to do a lot.
Yeah, that's very true.
They have a whole team of people to do stuff.
He's the head dude, but he has the administration.
Like, I just sit here and I don't hear what he's up to every single day. That's perfect for me because I don't care.
Exactly.
I don't want to know what he's doing every day. And Donald Trump was just this constant 24-hour, like, this is what the president is doing now. And like, he's
a real housewife.
What he did was he found a way to become the most famous person in the world.
And then he has the backing of the United States government.
And he worked the shit out of it. And he destroyed American politics, but also like.
Oh, but the thing is like all these indictments.
That man was made to do drag.
Oh yeah, no, he's a total drag queen. He's a total fucking drag queen.
Yeah.
And now he's gotten to a point where like there comes a point in drag where like the persona becomes bigger than the person, and he definitely has that.
Yeah.
Which I find fascinating. I also find
him so fascinating.
I do too. And like if I'm like there's one where him and Nancy Pelosi get into it, and it is so funny to me because you can tell these career politicians like don't know how to deal with him.
No.
And it's like, of course they don't, because they're old as shit. They're still thinking it's the 1970s. And then you get him, like, that's why I'm like, can we have like a really good reality star run for president? Because then because they're on the same level.
Well, remember when it was that Oprah was going to run against him? First of all, that would have been
a shit show. Well,
that would have, if we had reality star versus reality star, though, genuinely, it would be sort of dystopian in that light.
But I mean, I feel like that's what we're coming to.
We are. I was saying this morning. Everybody I know knows someone like from their past or like someone that they knew vaguely in their childhood who is now an influencer.
Yeah.
Like I did this film camp in middle school and I'm just like scrolling on Instagram today and it's a tweet and it's a screenshot of a tweet on Instagram and the name is this guy who did the film camp. Like he wasn't in the camp, he was like sort of like a co-counselor guy, but he was awesome. I loved him. And like a selfie of him and it's his name and the screenshot has 18,000 likes.
Yeah.
And I go to his account on Instagram and he has like 250,000 followers and he has like 1.8 million on TikTok. And I'm like, cool. Like so
but they
you're
get out of nowhere.
This now.
Yeah.
And like there are girls my friends went to camp with who like are just totally influencers now.
And like they're more focused on that than they are actually like the talent. Like people, I love these influencers. I get some of them come for me about my comedy and stuff. And I'm like, then get on stage and do a 20-minute set. Like, because you're going to fall flat. Like a lot of these people don't have the talent to back it up. And then like someone like me who like has a talent, I'm like, okay, let's be a smart that's all my drag is. I mean, my second book was paranormal influencer. So it's like, I'm in on the joke, but it's like, it's hard. You just got to strike it right. And I'm like, ugh, it's such a mess.
Yeah. And I can't figure out if it's like the people that I know and the people that I surround myself with just doing film related things. I feel like people involved in that world definitely have more of an affinity for like, you know, if you make TikToks really successfully, and this is barring like not those girls who just go on, those girls who just go on and like dance, but like someone who is, you know, making 30-second videos and TikToks that are funny and they're getting all these likes. That's writing.
Yeah,
like,
that is very true.
You're
That's
writing and you're performing.
Yeah.
And maybe
now
I just know more of those kinds of people.
With politics where people are basically running for the clout. Like to get that like twiddle, like, you know, you got the office of like this or that. Yeah. People are doing it for the followers because then they can spin that. Like, you know, like on Real Housewives now, I can tell you how many of them now, they keep casting influencers and it's like, they're only doing it to build their brand. Yeah. I'm like, you know.
I mean, every single person on Love Island is already an influencer.
Yes.
You're not going on as
The Bachelor too. And it's like, they're mainly going on just to get their face, get the name recognition on network TV. And then they're like, boom, I'm going to start a podcast. I mean, all things I've done, but like at the same time, I'm like, you know, I'm like, I don't know. It's like, it's a weird time right now. And the thing is though, is like, we understand this. Older people are like fucking stupid as can be about it. And they're like, they're very aggressive with how dumb they are, if that makes sense. Yes. Like, reality in quotes. And I'd be like, do you know what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, I had this girl that I go to school with who, she's not my friend. She used to be my friend. She's a psycho bitch, but she got scouted to be on this reality show. And she was sitting in my bed, literally doing her interview on Zoom for this reality show. And what they were going to do, it was going to be Cape Cod. Is that the one that's in Boston, Massachusetts? Yes.
Was it like a summer house type thing?
So it was going to be like what the wealthy, it was Martha's Vineyard. It was going to be like what the rich kids get up to in Martha's Vineyard. It was that this guy we both knew, he was on it and this past summer, and his aunt was part of it, and she was like, who do you know that would be good for it? And he suggested this girl that I know, who, again, batshit fucking crazy. Born and raised.
Good reality stars.
Born and raised in Thailand, though. China and Thailand.
Ooh.
So not like, you know, you go to Martha's Vineyard, you're expecting to see like old money East
and Martha's
Coast
Vineyard
families.
is like, it's a very black area that I don't think people realize. Like a lot of really affluent black families have property on Martha's Vineyard.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for this show, you're, you know, expecting a type of person. And I'm sitting here and I'm watching her interview, and they're asking her questions about herself, and she's like deferring to me, and I'm like telling them, which driving me fucking crazy because I'm like, I don't want to be on a reality show, but do I want to talk to the producers and pick their brains for an hour? Yes. But they're interviewing her and they're like, yeah, so we're gonna probably give you a hostess job in Martha's Vineyard. We're gonna plant you somewhere at a restaurant, give you a hostess job, and have you on the show. And she ended up not doing it because she wanted to go travel Europe instead, because she's rich and from Asia, so why
Yeah.
the fuck is she going to be on
I
a
was rich.
reality show? I know.
I always say eventually. It's not a matter of if, it's when.
It's when.
And people
But-
think I'm psycho for that. And I'm like, no, it's not a matter of if.
Yeah.
It's when, and it's gonna come.
That's how I feel about being famous. But it was so interesting.
I feel like you're pretty famous though.
I am.
You have that like sense of fame that like
Yeah.
I can pick up on it.
Thank you. I try.
Yeah.
But it was so interesting sitting in on that interview and seeing like, okay, so when you watch this reality show, you're gonna think this girl is a hostess at Martha's Vineyard, and she is not.
No, it's all fake. Do you watch
It's-
Vanderpump Rules?
No.
That's the show I wrote my thesis on.
Okay.
Best show ever made. I think you'll like it.
Yeah.
Because it is about like a group of servers and bartenders at a West Hollywood restaurant owned by Lisa Vanderpump. But the first season took place. It was filmed in 2012, so it was right before Instagram took off.
Okay.
So you kind of see these actors. The one of them's like, I'm going to be the next Michael Jackson. One of them wants to be Britney Spears. Like, they're actors, music people, and you can see they're kind of at crossroads where they're like, okay, we're either going to move home or we're going to make it, because they're not making it in that.
Yeah.
They're serving. And it's before, so they just were like, fuck it, I'm going on a reality show. And then they spun it after like 5 seasons to actually be reality stars with social media followings.
Right.
So it's a nice way to like see how that happens.
Yeah.
Because it's like, and I don't think that show could ever be made now because they don't cast reality shows like that. But at the same time, it's like you really get to see how social media influencing and reality stars kind of cross over, because there's so much into it. And now people are going on reality shows just to get a bigger following for their social media.
Exactly. No, it's interesting. I think as I've aged, I'm saying that like I'm older than I am, but like
You're an old soul.
I'm not even. I just feel like I know so many people.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like an old soul. I just think that I have had so many weird experiences.
Yeah.
Like but as I've like met more people, the more I've realized that like it's really either I live a weird life or fame is so conceptual
It is.
like it's very easy to attain. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I know so many people who are, again, they know an influencer, they are an influencer, they're getting scouted to be on a reality show. Like if you're existing with a public social media profile in this day and age, it's so easy. Like we've kind of blurred the lines between celebrity and non-celebrity.
Yeah,
I
like
feel
the
like most people
gatekeeping.
are existing somewhere
Yeah.
in this middle ground of like, okay, am I famous? No. Does it feel super attainable? Yeah. If I wanted to be, I could just do it.
Yeah. And that's very Warholian, which like circling back like to drag, like Andy Warhol said everybody's going to be famous 15 minutes. And he always had made these art films and made this stuff to like, kind of be like, hey, like we're all celebrities. It's how you make it. And nowadays it's like everything Andy Warhol said is true.
Yeah.
And I feel like drag, especially with the like explosion of drag since RuPaul's Drag Race, it's been like drag and social media go hand in hand. And it's kind of weird because like my social media is highly curated. It's all Zenobia. My Facebook is a little bit different just because I've had it for so long. But like how people don't get that, but it's like the fame and everything, the gatekeeping's gone. So
Yeah.
you create your own fame. You create your own celebrity and then
Totally.
you live it. And now everybody in our society is doing it. And kind of drag has gone mainstream because now you got 12-year-old kids. I mean, I don't know if you got it on video, but I always go backstage to give the queen shots when I'm at the state. And when I came out, I had one left, and there was a baby drag queen in the like.
I don't know if I have you offering it to her.
I go over and I'm like, drag queens get shots, and she's like, I'm 18. I'm like, motherfuck. I'm like, you youngins now.
See, I would have been like, okay.
Yeah,
and-
I mean, I can remember.
but she was like with her dad or something.
I know,
right?
and I was like, shit. But then after I told her, I was like, we're filming, so stick around.
Yeah,
So,
I have
like,
footage of you taking photos of her.
Yeah, because I think I have photos, and I think Sorority was talking to her too.
She was cool.
Yeah,
She was
but like that's
pretty.
kind of how like it's like
Yeah.
like you just happen to be in the right place at the right time, and you showed up and as your drag self, you got recognized. I mean, that's the one thing about this new generation that I'm like, I was drinking at 16. I was sneaking out to clubs at 16. I'm like, kids nowadays are not doing that.
No, they're not.
That's why I'm happy.
was
like
not.
in the late aughts, it was like when I was like 17. I'm like, I think I grew up at a good time because I had the real last bit of that.
Were you a early 2000s, late 90s? Where were you?
I was
how
born
old
in
you are.
91.
Okay.
So
yes.
I was I was 17 in 2000, like 2008.
I always said, and it's honestly, I kind of live it anyway, but like the music that was popular from 2008 to 2000, like
there's nothing like it. There's
I was
nothing
like,
like
I
it.
would have loved to be like 20 at that age.
It was so
However,
like,
they still play all of it.
oh yes, because it was good music.
There's nothing like
because
it.
really,
they
I feel
still
like
play all of it.
that was the last time there was originally original music. Like old school Ashley Simpson, I don't think that can be replicated. Like, and some of the pop culture moments, because that was really where like the internet started taking off, and you kind of had this celebrity. Like we shot the whole like paparazzi thing.
Yeah.
You know, hashtag we knew the girl who was the paparazzi. She's one of my acting friends, Lexi. But it's like that's the whole thing where I wanted to include that because it's like that was such an iconic moment.
Yeah.
Like in my era where it was like having paparazzi meant you're famous. And it's like, but nowadays we can make it. And it's part of like,
who cares?
You know, I'm like, whatever. Cause that's Kathy Griffin talks about this a lot. When My Life on the D-List came out in the mid-aughts, she just would call the paparazzi to take her photo. And it's like,
a lot
you know
of celebrities still do that.
They all do that. And they'll go to
idolize
places.
Tana Mojo. I love her.
Oh gosh.
I love her.
Yeah.
She calls the pops on herself
all the time.
But it's like to a point where I feel like they used to in the early 2000s be like they would call the paparazzi on themselves, but then just pretend like they didn't. But now it's like
now
people who are
know.
really fucking famous. Like Tana Mojo is very famous, and
God,
she will
her crying. And this was like in 2013, her crying eating noodles in her kitchen is like iconic.
Her calling the paparazzi on herself though at this stage in her career, and then being able to be like, yeah, I called the paparazzi. Look how awesome these photos are.
Yeah.
Because like, who gives a shit?
When I was in South Africa, there was like the company that I worked for, they hired photographers to get like footage of us to kind of show to other colleges. So I like was talking to the people, and they ended up being paparazzi guys. And I was like, okay, how much do I pay you to take paparazzi pictures of me? And they were like, so we got like some amount. It was like 100 rand something. Like I don't know, like it was like $15 American. And I was like, whatever, it's $15. If I lose it, I lose it.
Oh my god, I would have done that.
I had them follow me the whole day. Like, and I was like, I'm
awesome.
a celebrity. You guys are paparazzi. Those photos from that day, like I'm on Table Mountain. I'm like, I don't know. I'm on Musenberg Beach. Like we're like downtown Cape Town, and it's all paparazzi photos. And I was playing with it too. Like there was one where I had a cigarette on Table Mountain. I'm like giving them the finger, like because I was like, I'm living this moment.
So awesome.
They are my favorite photos, and it's to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna do that again. Like on my birthday next year, I want to hire my friend to do like your paparazzi. Just take the photos. Like I'm Paris Hilton. I mean, that's basically what I told Lexi that day. I was like, you're a photographer. You're not going to tell me who you work for, but you need to sell the paparazzi photos to pay your rent. Go.
Yeah.
And she did it.
Yeah. And it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's fun. The music in that's in the documentary. The music when you walk into the state is so perfect when the bass drops. It's Starships, right?
Yes. Well, Nicki Minaj is like, I mean, I have not been to a drag show probably my entire life where one of the queens did not do a Nicki Minaj song.
Yeah, because she's awesome.
Yeah, it's Nicki, Gaga, and Beyonce are like the three, and Britney are like
sure.
But like those first three, it's like every drag show.
Yeah.
Boom, you're having one.
Probably do people do like Ariana Grande?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. I love Ariana. Oh Ariana. Oh.
She is. I don't know what's up with her lately.
I think she just.
I'm not paying attention.
I think she has just been through so much trauma that like she's warped.
Every single one of those celebrities. Every Nick or Disney girl.
Oh, don't get me started.
I feel so bad for them.
Nickelodeon, Disney.
Miley Cyrus, love of my life.
She's at a
queen
cult
of my
right
heart.
now. She's like locked away in a cult.
Miley Cyrus?
Apparently.
She's like it's releasing a single, didn't she?
Yeah, but apparently she's found some new spiritual cult that she's like.
I don't care. She can do whatever she wants.
Yeah, that's right. I love Miley.
Do you know the song Miley by Swimmers? There's a song.
Really?
It's called Miley. And it's basically Miley is a punk rock queen. But
punk. Oh, that's another side of music, like the emo music from that era.
Like Panic at the Disco.
Yeah, Good Charlotte.
Yeah.
That's some of my like early performing stuff was like emo punk, Avril Lavigne.
I am the only person I follow on Instagram that follows Avril Lavigne.
I love Avril Lavigne.
I, during COVID, had sort of a breakdown and only listened to Avril Lavigne.
She's good in a breakdown.
She is the best.
I
She's
love
amazing.
Avril.
But what was I saying? Oh, Miley. Yeah, swimmers.
I'm gonna have to Google that because anything with I remember her VMA performance so vividly because I was watching it. I was at my mom's house and she was like, "What the fuck is that bitch doing?" And I was like, Gaga
the
opened it, yes,
with Robin Thicke.
but that VMAs was like the last iconic
that
VMAs.
was the VMAs,
yes,
in my mind.
because I remember like Little Kim with the boob,
Yeah.
like in the late '90s. Christina Aguilera showing up with like dental floss and 2 Band-Aids.
The meat dress.
Yeah,
Gaga with the meat dress.
but Gaga. Was that the meat dress? No. This was when she was
Did she
was
put
doing
an egg.
No, that was Born This Way. This was Art Pop.
Oh.
So she came out and she did a mashup of all her performances to applause, and people like booed her. Like she had them boo her for the art, and then like she was walking around in like the seashell bikini with like her whole ass out.
That was the seashells.
Yes.
Okay.
Because there was that, and then the Miley came out
Born This
twerking.
Way egg. I remember really, really vividly.
I could talk about Gaga forever. She's like,
Yeah.
And those, like, I don't know, that was good. And Gaga's still there, though. She's someone who's very fucked up, but she's very open about it, which I appreciate.
I don't really watch American Horror Story. I watched some of it.
I watched like the first, like, 5 seasons, and then
I
kind
love
of got...
Coven because, duh. It's
I loved
awesome.
Asylum.
I didn't even finish Asylum. They always have too
got
many
weird.
plots.
It got
They always have
weird.
too many plots, but Asylum, I think they had way too many plots.
Yeah. And I've heard some things about Ryan Murphy that I'm kind of like...
Does not surprise me.
Yeah, I'm
but
like, next
I
Harvey
watched,
Weinstein.
what's the summer camp one? 19.
Oh, I didn't even watch that. I stopped at
85.
Hotel.
Or whatever. But so I started Hotel only for Gaga, and then I didn't finish it because I don't really love the show, which super hot take.
Well, I'm not a like a scripted person.
See, I am, and
Like,
I'm a horror person too.
Oh, I love. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I was watching Hellraiser this weekend.
Of course.
So.
But I just couldn't get into it. But every scene with Gaga, I was like, I should watch Hotel
She's
more.
a good actress.
She's
a good actress. Well, just wait till you see this Joker movie coming up. I've been hearing some good things.
I'll have to watch it.
And she's the best actor. All right, so final thoughts.
Yeah,
final takes.
We've been just really talking.
I mean, I could chat with you for a while. You're pretty like, I like it.
Oh yeah, we have like a flow.
Yeah,
for sure.
And you get pop culture the way I do, and I appreciate talking about it. Okay, so what is your takeaway from about drag, about this whole project?
I think the fact that my first a drag show was also my first like documentary or work that I've done that wasn't for myself. Feels very like I've really enjoyed meshing those experiences because I don't know, like it drag was always something that I wanted to see a drag show, but I also want to understand the world and the culture of it, and I felt like I wasn't going to get it just by seeing a drag show.
Yeah.
It was something that I felt like if I went to a drag show, I would want to be involved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not a drag queen.
Well,
and I don't want to be a drag queen.
You can be a bio queen.
Yes, that's true. But like, you know, I would have wanted to be involved, and it was so awesome to get to do it in a way that I was like involved.
Yeah.
And again, it was so warm and awesome just to be there, and everyone like
because you really got to see us like gossiping and bitch, and really you got to see like what drag is. I mean, mostly the queens on stage, you know, pop locking, dropping it, lip syncing, doing that. But when you get to see like the humans behind it, it really opens your eyes, and you're like, wow, like it's a fun world.
Yeah, totally. And it was honestly, in a lot of ways, totally what I expected it to be.
This is like for a first documentary, I think this will be a good one.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it because it's also like, it has that reality show moment, but it also has like the documentary side.
Yeah.
And like, I'm really excited for the world to see.
I think from parenting, one thing I did take away applying to this is like a sort of a structural way of working it, where it is an art film. We don't have that much footage. We have one drag show, and we have you talking.
Yes.
And
me in the gallery.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to definitely get creative with visually and see what I can do to make
I just
it.
hit the table. Sorry.
Okay.
But definitely watch like Andy Warhol because Candy Darling is drag mom. I always say that's where Zenobia Darling comes from. Candy Darling is my drag mom, and she was the Chelsea Girls, Women in Revolt. Women in Revolt is probably her best, but they're Andy Warhol's like art films of the 70s.
Like I have seen.
Because she comes down the stage and she's like, hello, daddy, darling. That, like, you know, when stage, like, I remember being like little I was watching that in John Waters movies and was like, oh. So definitely, like, that's the thing. It's an art film. So it's like, it can kind of be boring, if that makes sense. And the other thing is, looking at Liz Lawson, like, who's in the gallery, and we're trying to figure, we might have the B-roll of the drag queens performing, like, any extra footage on a projector on the other wall.
I think that.
Because we're building it now, so it's like, you know, we kind of want to have that, like, the queens are always performing.
That would be smart. You're going to have to do something with music. I get so hung up on music rights all this because I've gotten fucked by it.
Oh, no. That's the one thing that we're like, I mean, I think for this, it's fucking heavy. So I'm kind of like, oh, we can figure it out. But
I would actually, we can talk about this more off the podcast because I would love to have that rolling. It would make it so much easier for me to edit a documentary and then also have the performances separate without feeling like I'm not showing enough of the performances. Because also, you know, I was having fun with the camera work during the show. So like that would be awesome.
I'm cool with that. And I can send you some of my old school stuff.
Yeah.
But okay, back to it. So
sorry.
What? No, it's all good. So final thoughts before I beam back up to space.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you for bringing me backstage at the drag show.
I love it.
And bringing me into this world a little bit and letting me fulfill my dream of talking on a podcast in a real microphone.
Yes. I was like, I'm not that's the one thing. I'm like, I'm a professional performer. Like we're doing this in real life. Yeah. Get back to your real life, back to school with you. Your thing about how everybody is famous. I have you at one point in the video saying, you know, I've always been famous, but it seems like the world is finally starting to catch on or something like that. Zenobia Darling quote.
And I have literally felt like that my entire life and have not like put words to it necessarily because like I don't just walk around saying I'm famous. But like the whole drag spirit of like, no, like I am famous and I'm famous because I feel famous.
Yeah. And if people don't believe you, then they can fuck off.
Yeah. Which is why the cold open of the documentary is you sit down and I say, okay, let's talk fame. And because I think that is so the way that I view fame as a concept has totally shifted. And it has been in my life recently. And we just talked about this a ton.
I love it. I love it.
From even doing this. Yeah.
And so where can we find you if people want to get in touch? Oh my goodness. The little darlings want to get in touch with you.
We can find me on Instagram. Katey Cooney. I spell Katey, Katey, because I'm cool and different. Cooney. It's just my name. But if you type in Katey, Katey, I'm the first one who comes up because, you know, no one else is out there doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't use social media that much, to be honest. Yeah. I'm not good at it. Instagram.
It is very curated, I will say.
I have used Instagram in ways that no one I know has even begun to. When I was like 12, I had probably 6 different accounts at once. Like,
do you have secret accounts?
I have always had a burner.
Oh,
always.
I do too.
Yeah.
Because like people block me and I'm like, not that I care what they say, but like there are a few people I'm like, are they talking shit about me?
Oh, I have a burner account literally just for posting my own camera roll and being like, hey, Katey, what's up? It has no followers. Like it's just private and it's just me posting to myself. No.
Why not?
Because it has no followers. It's the whole thing of it.
That's true.
It's just for me. And if I ever need it, if I'm like having another account, because I don't know if I can make any more, because I'm in my lifetime, I have probably made 20 different Instagram accounts.
Ooh.
Just for fan accounts. And like when I was 12, I had a nail account with my friends and like videos. I was an admin on a Video Star account. Like just everything. So I need my burner.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for doing the film. You guys are going to have to check it out. It's
Totally.
hashtag Rockstar Life, the art film. It's at Gallery 220 during the art film. It is
There's
an art film.
E at the end of art and film.
Yes.
Art film.
It's fancy. It's Gallery 220 in Havre de Grace. Come check it out. The Art of Drag opens September 30th. That's it. God, we're planning it. This is a few weeks ahead of time, but go check it out. Go follow me, www.zenobiadarlingcreative.com. All right, I'm back up to space. Bye, bitches.
Mwah.